Bless up, bless up, bless up. First of all, I'd like to take time out to say the video I'm about to use is not my video. I do not own the rights to the video. I'm using it for learning and teaching purposes only. What it is a video. I'm using it for the teaching purposes in hopes to try to understand how and why, more so why people, or should I say police, are undertrained. Why it is we have so many killings today, police shootings, police that don't know how to really communicate, the undertraining that goes on, the undertraining and the underfunding that goes on at small town counties and police departments, and how police that are lightweight, dirty cops, or how they get, should I say, discharged from their job, or they have to voluntarily step down, how they can move to another county, city, or state, and just because they have already the workforce experience, how they are already catapulted to the front of the line when it comes time to rehire police. Also, how education plays a big role in hiring the police. Military experience will negate any education, and they will overlook the education part if you have military experience. Now, I find all of that alarming myself. I really do. I really do. But I would like to get to the video, and I will hold my personal opinion till later on. That being said, let's get to it.
Alright, so today we're going to answer probably the most asked question on the channel ever in the comments section. Unfortunately, I don't have any particular person to attribute it to because I've probably fielded this question 100 times. And that is, what are the education requirements for police officers? Well, there aren't any. Well, that was easy. Put your hands up here in the car. I'm on the car. No, don't put them in your pockets. Hands up on the car. There you go. Right there. Now, of course, it's not that easy. If you check any websites, around here we have what's called the Blue Lines, theblueline.com. They post job listings from police departments. Police departments pay to put job listings on this website. And on there, if you go to the website, you'll see that most places, the requirement is simply that you have a GED. A lot of small departments, they put very minimal requirements. They put like basically the requirements that are required by law as what their minimum requirements are for police officers. You have to be a U.S. citizen. You have to be at least 21 years of age in most places. You have to have a GED, no felony convictions or convictions involving moral turpitude. Now, that's pretty much everybody who's going to want a job as a police officer to start with. But that's not every agency. Some places require that you have a high school diploma. They won't accept a GED. Some places require an associate's degree. Some places require a bachelor's degree. And when you get into specific jobs where you're lateraling into a position, and these are very few jobs, but you're lateraling into a position where you have to have a very specialized skill, some of them don't really require but kind of insist upon having a master's degree in that particular field. Now, when we start looking at the numbers of places that require these different education levels, the most common one is agencies that require a GED. And when you look at them, they're mostly small places. And when you look at why they're requiring a GED, it makes a lot of sense. A lot of small agencies don't have the money to train up everybody that they hire. A lot of them prefer to have people with prior experience who are already certified or are only going to have to take like a 40-hour class to transfer from one state to the other. They're trying with the very minimum requirements to draw people in from other agencies that have experience. This makes sense for a lot of small places. But because the small place says that their only requirement is that you have a GED, doesn't mean that you're necessarily going to be in a good position to get a job there if you show up, you're 21 years old with no no work experience and have just a GED. Just like with age requirements, because a place says that they'll hire someone who's 21 years old, that doesn't mean they're going to hire someone with no work experience that's 21 years old, and that's the same reason they won't hire someone with no prior work experience that has just a GED. They're just casting a very wide net, trying to collect in as many candidates as possible so they can pick the best one for their agency. In a lot of small places, they don't have cash to put into a large hiring process and a large vetting process. That's their easiest route to go. If they hire someone who's already a police officer, meets the minimum requirements, then they're good. They're not necessarily going to take the goofy kid who's 21 and just has a GED unless he has prior work experience.
But they will take the ex-dirty ass police officer that then killed somebody or embezzled money, smuggled drugs, or tampered with physical evidence. Let's get back to it. I'm sorry.
So let me give you a suggestion to the people who are going to go out there and not go to school, have a GED, or just have a high school diploma. If you're in that situation, you're not going to go to school, you're not going to go get a degree, you have two options. One is go to the military. A lot of places love pulling in military vets and will in fact give you the same credit for spending 4 years active duty in the military as they would for you to have 4-year degree from a university. Not everywhere, mind you, but a lot of places that I find, in fact, the place I work at, if you have 4 years of active service in the military, they count that as education. So that starts opening inroads. The second one is to have a job where other people have to put trust in you. And so the military answers that too. So a military veteran coming into a place that requires a GED or a high school diploma has a step up on everyone else. And in some circumstances, if the place requires an associate's or a bachelor's degree or equivalent military service, that'll get you in too. The plus side is that doesn't cost you anything in money really, and it gives you a guaranteed job as long as you can stay in. The downside is that you have to go to the military, and that's also not everybody's cup of tea. The other option is to get a job in a related or an unrelated field. Really, the only thing that's important about finding that job, if you're not going to go to college, is having a job that requires you to be responsible, especially if it involves you being responsible for other people. And it has to be age appropriate. So if you get out of high school when you're 18, and when you're 19 years old, you're working at the arcade at the mall, that's not a big deal. But if you're 21 years old and you're working at the arcade at the mall, that seems to be a little un-age appropriate. It's not a job that shows that you have responsibility to someone who's looking to give you a gun, a badge, and a squad car and send you out to dispense justice upon the public. What you're looking for is a job like truck driving, where somebody's giving you $100,000 worth of truck and equipment to...
Hold on, I gotta pause that right there. Truck driving? Why the fuck would truck driving be... Now, that's materialistic. And then what he just said, it was if somebody gave you $100,000 worth. Are you serious? You ain't say a bodyguard, a lifeguard. You ain't say National Guard. You said truck driving. What? Let's get back to it. I hope y'all understand what I'm saying right now. He's a police officer. And one of the requirements that he said in order to be a police officer was that you would have been able to have to care for somebody. Huh? Then you say truck driving is us, man.
Go take somewhere. Electricians, if you go to some sort of trade school and you get into a trade. EMTs, there's a lot of private ambulance companies, especially if you're in a major metro area. There's private ambulance companies that will hire people who, meet the minimum job requirements. You're 21 years old, you've got a good driving record, you go to EMT school, it's like a 40-hour class, you get a job with a private ambulance company. A bunch of people that I went to the academy with came directly out of doing private ambulance to that. Armored car service, somebody's giving you a truck, a whole bunch of money, and a gun, and trusting that you're not going to steal the money and you're not going to shoot anybody that doesn't need shooting. And especially if you get into one of those jobs and you advance and you become a supervisor or you get put in charge of training or something like that, that looks really good to a police department later on down the road. Of course, this is good advice to you while you're in college too. If you're going to go to school,
all I know is being a truck driver and being an electrician ain't good job requirement for being no damn police officer. Damn fool.
To become a police officer, and you're going to have a job while you're in school. It's a good idea to get a job that's age appropriate, that also shows that you have some sort of responsibility. If you can become a part-time supervisor at wherever you're working, that looks really good to a police department. So moving on from there, some places require an associate's degree or require a bachelor's degree. And here's the advice I have for that. If the place that you're going to try to go to, or the area that you're in, requires an associate's or a bachelor's degree, then you either have to get an associate's or a bachelor's degree, or you have to move. Those are kind of your options. But if you're going to go to get an associate's or a bachelor's degree, the best advice that I can give you is to not get a degree. Don't major in criminal justice, or criminology, or crime scene investigation, or whatever it is universities are selling to you to tell you that you're going to get this job and you're going to become a detective or a crime scene investigator, or whatever shenanigans it is that they're telling kids to get their money right now. If you're going to go to college and you're interested in law enforcement and you want to minor in criminal justice, or you want to minor in criminology or minor in crime scene investigation, then that's great. If you're going to double major and you want to double major in some criminal justice related field and you're going to major in something else also, that's great. But you need to major in something other than criminal justice. There are very few places that require that you have a degree in criminal justice. They normally either require that you have a associate's degree in criminal justice or a bachelor's degree in anything, or they require that you have an associate's degree in anything or a bachelor's degree in anything. I have only found a couple very select places that say that you have to have a criminology bachelor's degree from such and such type of university. That's not really common. So what I suggest to people is what you need to do is major in something that is going to give you a marketable skill outside of law enforcement or within law enforcement, and preferably both. My standout suggestion to people right now is to go to school for accounting. If you go to school for accounting, you have a job that you can do if you get stuck in a wheelchair and you can't be a cop anymore, and you also have a skill that you're going to be able to use in law enforcement. White-collar crime is a big thing right now, and I don't think there's any agencies that would be very fast to turn away someone because they had a degree in accounting. That's a skill that most of us have to.
Alright, okay, I could feel him on that. I can definitely feel him on that part. But the truck driving and the electrician part, I definitely don't. Unless the electrician part got to do, I don't even think I got to do with bombs. You understand me? And so no, this guy here, man. And then I almost took it as like, why wouldn't I want to be smarter? Like, almost like, what? Like, how you gonna tell me what I can and I can't take up, and how much of it I can absorb, man? And they don't want you to be too smart. I'm telling you. I feel like that right there is a little bit of that mind control shit.
Acquire trying to work up cases and have to acquire the ability to look at numbers and figure out what's going on with white-collar crime cases. And if you come in already knowing it, you're ahead of the game on at least that one area. Another one that is really good is if you already have a language that you speak pretty well, you can major in a language. Also, you can major in history if you want to learn a lot about the human condition and be able to relate to other people better. You could also major in human resources management, which is what I went to school for, which would help you out with dealing with your bosses and understanding the hiring process and make it easier for you to get jobs later on down the road. But realistically, anything that you get a degree in other than criminal justice is probably going to help you more than getting a criminal justice degree. I know I'm pissing some professors off right now when I'm saying this. So let's break it down for you. All told, do you need a degree to be a police officer? No. Some of the best cops that I've ever worked with, some of the best cops I've ever trained, didn't have a bachelor's degree, or their degree wasn't in criminal justice. Some of the best ones were military intelligence, never went to school. Does a degree open doors for you? A degree opens doors for you. If you have a bachelor's degree, you can work anywhere from the smallest town to the biggest city to federal agencies and there aren't really going to be any restrictions on the places you can go because of minimum education requirements. But if school isn't for you, there are other things to do. You can get a good job that shows that you're responsible and work for smaller agencies or places that don't care that you don't have a degree, or you can go into military service, which works basically as a degree in a bunch of different places. So it all kind of depends on what you want to do in law enforcement, but when you talk to someone who's a guidance counselor or whose job it is to help you select classes in college, and they tell you you have to have a criminal justice degree or a criminology degree in order to be a police officer, they are either ignorant of the facts, or they're lying to you, or they're scamming you, or possibly 2 out of 3. If you like this type of content, it helps you out, or it helps you understand more about law enforcement and the way it really works, please go check out the Patreon page up here. Patreon is where you help me make videos like this with a small donation. It allows you to see videos before I release them to the general public. I'm normally 1 to 3 weeks ahead on videos, so you could have seen this about a month ago when I shot it. You should also check out my Instagram for pictures of my equipment and what I'm doing and what's coming up in future videos if you're a subscriber. And also, make sure you check out our sponsor, Tier 1 Firearms. The link is down in the description down below. Go check them out and let them know that we sent you. Till next week, you guys be safe and take care of each other. I'd like to thank...
Bless up. Man, this video, man. How I'm taking it. There's another video here I want to check out. It says something about the police test, the police exam. So I'm going to end this one and I'm going to come back with another one. We're going to take the exam. So get your pen and your paper ready. We're going to take the exam and see if we smart enough to become police officers. Since you just got to have the minimum education. Appreciate you coming through and stopping. Drop me some comments, like the video, dislike the video. It ain't a whole lot. I'm just trying to get this message out here because I'm trying to wrap my head around why it is we got police that don't use common sense, that stay gunning people down. You understand me? They believe they see guns and shit like that, you know. And from what I'm getting is the training ain't worth diddly shit, diddly poo. You understand me? You go to the dollar store and get this type of training. Come out of the damn Dollar General, Family Dollar with a damn degree to become a police officer. That's what it sounds like to me. Yeah, we gonna take the test. Hold on. I'll be back.